with my own ears, I heard him say he was the bread of God. And then he said, I am the bread of life. I was puzzled. Who wouldn't be? What could a man possibly mean claiming he is the bread of life? I now know he spoke the truth. This is the story of how I came to know him through the breaking of bread.
Father, where are you? You won't believe it. I have to tell you everything. I'll burst if you're not home. Mother, the best thing in the world. It's better than 1,000 pieces of silver. It's the very best thing that ever was.
1,000 pieces of silver could come in handy.
You won't believe it. I can't even believe it. Wait till I tell you.
Lucas, that's not the basket you left with this morning.
No, it's one of the 12. The 12 amazing baskets. Oh, Mother, Father, where should I begin?
Why don't you sit and catch your breath? Here's a cool drink of water. Now tell us as slowly as you can. Did you see the rabbi?
Did I see the rabbi? Did I see him? I talked with him. He put his hand on my shoulder while his disciples counted the loaves of bread. And then he smiled at me as if he knew. He did know. He had to know. He knew exactly what was going to happen before it ever did. He's amazing.
Sip the water, Lucas. You're not making any sense.
Here's how it happened. It was late in the day. I still had the loaves of bread you set for my lunch, Mother.
You mean you didn't eat the lunch I packed for you?
I just got so caught up in what the Rabbi Jesus, that's his name, was teaching that before I knew it, the sun was going down and I still had my lunch. But listen, I gave it to Jesus.
You must be starved then, son.
No, I can't hold another crumb. None of us could. All of us ate as much as we could hold, and look, here's a basket of what was left over.
Son, we are poor, yes, but we do not beg bread from others.
No, this is our bread, all of it. It is the barley bread you baked this morning, Mother.
You know I only sent 5 small loaves with those 2 smoked whitefish. Hardly enough for a boy your age.
One more sentence, Mother. One more sentence, and you'll be as amazed as I am.
Very well.
Jesus took those 5 loaves of bread, and he blessed them, and he started breaking them and handing out the pieces until everybody there. They say there were 5,000 men alone, and every man, woman, and child on that hillside had their fill of the bread you baked this morning.
Lucas, that's not possible.
That's not my bread.
That is the miracle. Don't you see?
You mean to say that the bread in this basket...
Leftovers of your bread, which she broke into pieces.
Well, it tastes like my barley bread, but how?
Mother, Father, would I tell you this if it weren't true?
Now, he used your lunch out of that whole crowd.
My lunch alone. First the bread and then the fish too.
Will he be there again tomorrow?
As if we could get to him, dear.
That's the best news of all. Today, he's near Capernaum. That's why I'm home so late. But tomorrow, they say he's coming around like to our side.
Here to Bethsaida?
Yes. And Father, he heals all the sick who come to him.
Lucas, don't cook up false hopes.
But Mother, one man had a withered hand. And when Jesus touched it, his hand straightened right out, just like yours and mine. And the whole crowd shouted for joy. Anyone who touched him was healed of whatever sickness he had.
Oh, but the crowds he gathers, how could I get to him among so many?
And tomorrow is market day. I have to buy food, so I won't be able to help.
Father, what if we borrowed Uncle Cleo's boat and rowed it right up to him? Uncle Cleo let us use it before.
Yeah, well, your Uncle Cleopas, he may be at the homestead in Emmaus and not up here by the lakeside at all.
We can at least check. Please, Father?
Lucas, it's one thing for a boy to traipse all around the countryside on adventures. But your father is not strong enough.
No more of that. I can see by the look in the boy's eyes, I'll need to check about the boat at the very least.
Can I go with you?
No, you stay here and help your mother. If I'm able to get the boat, I'll need to wake you before dawn to get started. You need your rest.
I'm good with the oars, Father. You'll see.
I'm sure you are. Now you get some rest.
Night.
Good night.
Lucas, I hope you realize how hard this will be on your father when this all falls through. Now get some rest while I put this bread in the oven.
But we don't need it. We have this whole basket full.
We can't waste what I have here.
Amen.
Dear God, thank you for the bread. Thank you for Jesus. Please help Father get to him tomorrow. Bless Father and make him well. Bless Mother, too, and help her to understand. Bless Jesus and all the things he does. He's so kind and good and powerful. He's just like you. Amen. morning, Mother.
Come eat your breakfast.
Did Father get the boat?
No, your Uncle Cleopas must be down at Emmaus. No one was home.
But then Father won't get to Jesus.
Here, eat your bread and cheese.
Mother, why don't we eat the bread I brought home yesterday?
I don't trust it. Who knows where it came from? It's better to have our own.
But Mother, Jesus blessed it.
You'll do as you're told and eat the bread I baked last night.
Where's Father?
You'll be happy to know that his hopes were so high that this Jesus can help him, that he left in the middle of the night to see if he could walk to the lakeshore by daybreak.
He did? He's already gone? Mother, you have to come too. This will be the greatest day ever. I just know it will.
Nonsense. Someone has to go to market and someone has to be here to pick up the pieces when you and your father come home and are crushed with disappointment.
What if we're not disappointed?
I'll believe that when I see it. Your father said to meet him by the near side of the main dock.
I'll have to take food again.
Here, I've packed some bread and fish for you both.
But what about all this from yesterday?
Is my bread not good enough for you?
Yes, Mother. Thank you for lunch.
You just see that your father gets home safe.
What are you going to do with the basket?
I don't know.
Taste it and see, Mother. It's good.
Run along now.
You'll see, Mother.
Taste and you'll see that the Lord is good. His heavenly bread fills the hungry soul. Drink from the well that will never run dry. Come to the living water and be whole. Taste and you'll see that the Lord is good. His heavenly bread fills the hungry soul. Drink from the well that will never run dry. Come to the living water and be whole. I will bless the Lord with my mouth. I will sing his praises. My soul will boast in the Lord. Oh, magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. Taste and you'll see that the Lord is good. His heavenly bread fills the hungry soul. Drink from the well that will never run dry. Come to the living water and be whole. I sought the Lord and he heard my cry. Delivered me from all my fears. Lift your head and see, for God comes to you. Taste and you'll see that the Lord is good. Taste and you'll see that the Lord is good. His heavenly bread fills the hungry soul. Drink from the well that will never run dry. Come to the living water and be whole. Taste and you'll see that the Lord is good. Come to the living water. Drink from the living water and be whole.
It's almost dark and no sign of them. I knew this was a bad idea. But whoever listens to the mother. Foolishness. Maybe it'll do the birds some good.
Is he here?
Who?
Father. I thought he must have given up and come home.
You mean he's not with you?
I never saw him by the near side of the dock or anywhere. The crowds were even bigger today. There were people everywhere.
He's fallen somewhere. We'll have to go look for him. He may be hurt. This is just what I feared would happen. Who is it? Come in. Cleopas, we thought you were down at Emmaus. No one was at your place yesterday evening.
I haven't been there for days. I've been following the rabbi around the lake. And what a day it has been. You should have been there.
Nonsense. There's been enough trouble as it is. We were just...
Father's crutch.
Then you know where he is. Something's happened to him, hasn't it?
Yes, something wonderful. He wanted me to come in first so that you wouldn't faint dead away. Now sit down.
What? What is it? What?
Jesus has healed my leg.
I knew
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
This is the most wonderful day of my life. Jesus of Nazareth has given me back my leg. He's given me back my life.
How did he do it?
The rabbi put his hand on my leg and said my faith had made me well. Throw down my crutch. I did, and I can't explain it, but a warm rush of strength and energy came into the twisted leg, and it was done. I could feel it was as strong as the other.
I knew he'd do it, Father. I just knew it.
Yes, thank you, son, for your faith, too.
Father, everyone's saying he's the Messiah.
Until today, that is. This afternoon, he said something so strange that even those who had followed him for days turned and walked off. They thought he was crazed by the heat. I confess, I didn't understand what he said. All the people from Capernaum kept begging him to give them manna like Moses in the wilderness.
Yes, and how did he put it? Jesus said that he is the living bread come down from heaven, and that if any man eats of that bread, that he'll live forever. And the bread that he gives is his flesh, which he gives for the life of the world.
And that's when they started to turn on him. I heard someone say, "This is Jesus, the son of Joseph. How can he say he came down from heaven?"
Yes, but then he said something about eating his flesh.
Yes, he said something to the effect that unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Yes, that was it. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life.
Yeah, and that stunned the crowd. Most of them walked off and left him standing in a field.
What did he mean by all that?
I don't know, Lucas.
His disciples, the 12 who follow him, they seem to be confused as well.
Well, I have to believe he's the Messiah. He's given me back my leg and my livelihood, and I will follow him until the day I die.
I don't know who he is, but I've seen what he's done. He must be sent from God. But why am I standing here when you men must be famished from walking all day?
Yes, I have been walking all day, and what a blessing it is to have sore feet. I'll not complain of tired feet as long as I live.
Hey, down here, we have a guest. Cleopas, will you break bread with us?
I haven't eaten all day.
This is bread from yesterday.
It's still fresh.
There's an idea. Let's go to the neighbors, all of them. We'll share our blessed bread with them. This is a day for rejoicing, and I myself will carry the basket and serve the bread. We'll make this day the most joyous in the history of Bethsaida. Come and follow me.
Oh, come and sing unto the Lord, to God our voices raise. Let us in our most joyful
time does not permit me to tell of all that has happened in these 2 years since he healed me. But most strange are the events surrounding this past week in Jerusalem. Events so horrible, they seem to prove once and for all that Jesus was not who he claimed to be. It was the feast of Passover. We took Lucas down to the great city for the celebration. News was everywhere that Jesus had come to the feast as well. We were thrilled. I wanted to see him and thank him again for what he did for me. And I did see him again, but not as I had wished. I witnessed his execution at a public gallows there just outside the city. I don't know all the politics involved. I only know I watched as those precious hands that touched my leg to make it whole, those same hands were nailed to a wooden cross with iron spikes, his legs as well. Flesh and blood. 2 years ago, he spoke of flesh and blood. And this week, I stood there and watched as his flesh was broken open and his blood spilled out upon the rocks below. He laid down his life. And I can't get that image out of my mind. I keep hearing the words he cried out on the cross. He asked God to forgive his executioners. Forgive them. And the look in his eyes. I have never seen such a look as I saw in his eyes. I pray to God, I shall never forget the precious image of the bread of life nailed to a cruel cross, with nothing of anger, nothing but love.
On my heart imprint your image, blessed Jesus, King.
I'm so tired I could fall asleep right here and now.
Put your things away first.
When will Father be home?
I told you not to ask again, Lucas. He had to stop off and see your Uncle Cleopas. Emmaus is only a few miles out of the way, so he should have caught up with us by now.
I couldn't even see him on the road behind us.
Maybe he spent the night. Your uncle seemed to take it all so personally. Your father did too.
Mother,
Yes, Lucas.
what are we going to do with this basket? It isn't much good anymore.
I almost threw it away the first time you brought it home. And all that bread too. But no matter what has happened to Jesus, he gave your father his health. And that basket was at the center of the happiest day that this town has ever seen.
I don't want to keep it now.
We'll talk about it when your father gets home.
Lucas, where are you? Oh, you won't believe it. I've got to tell you everything. It's the best thing that's ever happened.
Why don't you sit and catch your breath?
Strange. This reminds me of that day 2 years ago. Another miracle has happened.
What? What is it?
It's Jesus. He's alive. I saw him. We both did, your uncle and I. He talked with us. He walked right beside us, and we never even knew it was him. He asked us why we were so sad. Can you believe he asked us that? He knew why we were sad. He was trying to get us to see. But we couldn't see past the noses on our faces.
Take a drink. You're making less sense than Lucas did when he brought home the basket.
The basket? Where is the basket?
How can he be alive, Father?
He is, Lucas. I promise you he is. He's more alive now than ever before. Here, I'll explain everything. This stranger who walked with Cleopas and me started telling us from the scriptures all about the Messiah. Everything seemed so clear as he explained them to us. How the Messiah had to suffer and die for the sins of the whole world. I have to read Isaiah again. But we were down the road to Cleopas's house, and the stranger was going on. And Cleopas insisted he join us for supper. And Cleopas was getting something on the table, and he asked the stranger to bless the bread, and the bread. You know, I first realized it was Jesus when he broke the bread. I could see the scar in his hands from where the nails had gone through. Yes, the bread of God, the bread of life. The bread come down from heaven.
Then what?
Then, I don't know how, but he disappeared from our sight. Cleopas and I stared at each other for one long moment, and then we ran back to Jerusalem to tell his disciples what we had seen.
Back to Jerusalem? How did you make it home so quickly?
Ran all the way on the blessed legs he gave me. And I'll keep on running. From house to house in Bethsaida and in Capernaum and everywhere I can to tell everyone I meet. This is what Jesus meant that day 2 years ago when he healed me. He is the living bread come down from heaven. And if any man eats of the bread of life, he'll live forever. It's just like the day we took the basket all over town. The basket of bread he blessed. Only this is far better. This is the bread of life.